I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpm.fm to discover more.
Hey, it's Susan Blackwell from The Spark File, your one-stop shop for creativity where our doors are open and we are calling all brave creatives. The new year is upon us, and if you're feeling uncertain about the world or your creativity, we have got good news. Did you know uncertainty is where creativity thrives? And when you're experiencing uncertainty, the plane of possibility is huge. We're inviting you to make certain that your 2026 heads in the right direction. Join us and other awesome creatives on January 3rd for the SparkFile 2026 New Year Creativity Kickoff. At this one-day virtual retreat, you'll clarify what you want to create and how you want to get there. You'll meet other makers, you'll tap into creative freedom and possibility, and you're going to leave with an action plan for making your creative dreams a reality. It's all happening January 3rd, live on Zoom. Visit thesparkfile.com to register for the SparkFile 2026 New Year Creativity Kickoff and to take advantage of early registration incentives like lower pricing. Y'all, in 2026, let's link arms, fear less, and create more. Visit thesparkfile.com now.
Shakespeare can be intimidating for artists, for audiences. People often put Shakespeare on a pedestal or try to dumb it down. We're doing neither. We're taking these texts that still resonate in so many ways and handing them to a diverse set of today's most exciting playwrights and saying, what would you do? How would you translate this into contemporary English verse from your perspective, using your knowledge and your artistry? We're here to decolonize and democratize Shakespeare because these stories are for everyone. Visit playonshakespeare.org to find a modern verse translation of Shakespeare and get the playwright back in the room.
The SparkFile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Welcome to the Spark File, where we believe that everyone is creative, but smart, creative people don't go it alone.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I'm Susan Blackwell. We are creativity coaches who help people clarify and accomplish their creative goals.
Please know that just by listening to this podcast, you are joining a warm and wonderful clan of creatives.
But hold the phone, you may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File?
A Spark File is a place where you consistently collect all of your inspirations and fascinations. Every episode, we're going to reach into our very own Spark Files and exchange some sparks. From time to time, we're going to talk to some folks who spark us too.
And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take some of those sparks of inspiration and make something of your own. So without further ado, let's open up the
Spark File.
Welcome.
Yay! Welcome.
Welcome, new listeners. Welcome, old listeners. Welcome new listeners who are old and new listeners who are young. Welcome to all of you. Just briefly, just a few things to put on your radar. We'll share more information about this at some point in some location, but there are many exciting things happening at the Spark File. So if you like this podcast and you want more Spark File in your life, we have got the New Year's Creativity Kickoff coming up right at the top of January. It's a beautiful way to reset your creativity. That's the new way we're pronouncing it in 2026. And that's a sneak peek. Creativity. Yep. We're rocking a different syllable, but we've got that coming up, which is just this beautiful online creative retreat, essentially. The Spark File Creative Community, which is
so fun.
A new space for creatives from around the world to come together.
Come and splash around a little bit. Low pressure, but
high pleasure.
High pleasure.
There you go.
Nice.
And we've got a Blaze course starting in January, which is
Yeah, we do.
such a just a life changer. So I'm sure that if you look somewhere, sparkfile.com, there'll be information at some point.
And if you're on our email list, we'll be
Get
sharing
into
this
it.
information. Yeah, get into it.
Yeah.
Join us.
Is there anything that you want to say to me before I spark you with a sparky new spark?
I will simply say that my enthusiasm and excitement for this next season remains very, very high. I'm so
Yes.
psyched about these opportunities to sit and
Same.
talk about ideas that have been popping off in our brains.
I love it.
So give it to me.
And you know what's fun? I feel like we've had a little bit of time now that my Spark file has just completely refilled with all these freshies.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to be sparked and to spark in turn. So
Today's your day.
today's my day to spark you. And my spark today is a book that was recommended to me a couple of times by our dear friend, Gavin Creel. Back in 2023, Gavin came to talk with our Illume Mastermind course, and he talked about this book.
He did.
Even before he turned 50, Gavin was thinking a lot about aging and what that meant to him. And he said that this book was useful to him as he was exploring how he wanted to approach his later years. Of course, this is very poignant because he barely experienced later years.
That's right.
But in reading this book that Gavin had recommended, I couldn't help but sort of reading it at times through his eyes. And it made so much sense why he was recommending it. And you could see how it was starting to really take shape and show itself in his life, the influence of this book. The book that Gavin recommended is called From Strength to Strength: Finding Success, Happiness, and Deep Purpose in the Second Half of Life. It is written by Arthur C. Brooks. And Laura, this is one of those books that I read it and I immediately read it again because I was like, I have got to internalize this booch.
I love that. I know you had mentioned it, and I have to give you kudos for going straight through those feelings because, you knew Gavin much more than I did, but I knew him a little, and he affected my life with just, a tiny, tiny bit of interaction. And I bought that book immediately when he recommended it.
Yeah.
And then, shortly after when he got ill, then I just found like I couldn't read it. And, and I was just so conscious of the feelings I would have while reading it. So there it sits on my shelf. But I bet you're about to inspire me to go ahead and move through those feelings, let all those feelings move through me.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me that you would have that response to it. I feel like in moments like this, I am observing that I, not always, but often, want to lean in to things like reading this book as a way of, I'm like, it seems doubly important because he recommended it, that it was one of the, he read a lot, but
he's still talking to you. Like he's still advising. And
and I was like, I got to read that book. So it's a way for me to, in the same way that experiencing one's grief is a way to connect with the person you are grieving. I think that reading a book that he recommended was a way to connect with him and kind of get to spend more time with him. So
that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I am so glad. I'm so glad that you did it. It sounds like not just once, but twice.
A book so nice, I read it twice. So let's get into it. Arthur C. Brooks, according to his bio, the author Arthur C. Brooks is a Harvard professor, a PhD, a social scientist, a best-selling author, and a columnist at The Atlantic who specializes in using the highest levels of science and philosophy to provide people with actionable strategies to live their best lives. I love that bio.
I like that bio. I like that purpose in life. Thanks for helping all the rest of us.
Thank you, Arthur C. Brooks. So why did From Strength to Strength feel so important to me that I immediately read it again so I could internalize it?
Why did it, Susan? Please tell.
In the book, Brooks describes something that I have felt, that I have experienced from the inside. He writes, in practically every high skill profession, decline sets in sometime between one's late 30s and early 50s. He writes, sorry, I know that stings, and it gets worse. The more accomplished one is at the peak of one's career, the more pronounced decline seems once it has set in. Boo, Arthur C.
Wow.
Brooks, boo, boo to that.
That's just cruel.
But I was like, oh,
and not untrue.
I recognize this.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was interesting to me because I have always been, see if you relate to this, Laura Camion, I have always been such a striver. But I had observed in myself over the years what one might describe as decline. I was growing increasingly less interested in that hard striving. I observed myself wanting to get off that grindy hamster wheel, not having every moment of my day scheduled for maximum productivity and achievement. I wanted to transition into doing more teaching. And I was really feeling these feelings. And then there were moments when I experienced this sort of like, this sort of like psychic jerk where I would be like, what are you doing? Why aren't you striving? Why aren't you working harder? Why aren't you going?
We must strive.
Because that is what we have always done. It felt like it was one of those key pieces of my identity and my success. Do you relate to that, Laura?
Do I relate? I thought striving was the same as being alive.
Oh,
I would not be like, if I'm not striving for something, am I even living?
Yes. Yes.
Is it even life?
So Brooks writes, I came to call this the striver's curse. People who strive to be excellent at what they do often wind up finding their inevitable decline terrifying, their successes increasingly unsatisfying. So that felt very familiar to me. And to hear this social scientist articulate it, what is a very natural organic transition and the science behind it, I felt like my experience had been articulated in a book, which felt comforting. And also, I'm like, so what do you have to say about it? What do you have to say about it, Arthur
Tell
C.
me,
Brooks?
help me, Arthur. Help me.
So Brooks shares there is another path. Instead of denying change in your abilities, you can make the change itself a source of strength. Instead of trying to avoid decline, you can transcend it by finding a new kind of success, better than what the world promises and not a source of neuroses and addiction, a deeper form of happiness than what you had before. And in the process, true meaning in life, maybe for the first time. The process is what I lay out in this book. It has changed my life and it can change yours too.
Well, please.
Bring it on. Bring it on, Arthur C. Brooks. He does share this, a word of caution. This path means going against many of your striverly instincts. No shit, Arthur C. Brooks.
How about against all of those instincts?
God. A lifetime of instincts.
Oh my God.
He said, I'm going to ask you not to deny your weaknesses, but rather to embrace them defenselessly, to let go of some things in your life that you worked hard for, but are now holding you back, to adopt parts of life that will make you happy, even if they don't make you special.
What?
To face decline and even death with courage and confidence, to rebuild the relationships you neglected on the long road to worldly success, and to dive into the uncertainty of a transition you have worked so hard to evade. Wow. I felt almost sentence by sentence. I was just like, ow, so called in, so
like phrase by phrase. It's like
phrase by phrase, phrase by phrase.
Oh my God.
To rebuild the relationships you neglected on the long road to worldly success. I was like, God damn.
That's what we used to, like you and I would call like the graveyard of, friends. And some people should stay buried there.
Correct.
But there are some that, if we could do over again, wouldn't have ended up there.
1,000,000%. And I said it, but I'll say it again. To adopt parts of life that will make you happy, even if they don't make you special. I was like, oof, yes,
Wow.
so real.
So real. And isn't striving so much a part of it's about that. It's about being special in some way, and that need to, that drive to separate ourselves in some way.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope he's going to tell us what happens if we don't pursue that. That'd be nice.
He gets there. He gets
Okay.
there. But before we get there, he shares some of the common ages for career peaks and declines. He says, on average, the peak of creative careers occurs about 20 years after career inception. Hence, the finding that people usually start declining somewhere between 35 and 50. In surveys, classical musicians report that peak performance occurs in one's 30s. Brooks describes the structural changes in the brain, specifically the changing performance of the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that's right behind our forehead. Apparently, I was saying this to you the other day because I was bemoaning the fact that I was just like, I was jet lagged. I could not get my brain to jump online.
Oh, my prefrontal cortex.
And I was like, Laura.
That's exactly what you sounded like.
I shared this to you. I shared this with you. Apparently, the prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain to develop in childhood and the first to exhibit decline in adulthood. It's primarily responsible for working memory, executive function, and inhibitory mechanisms. That is the ability to block out information extraneous to the task at hand. So in middle age, the prefrontal cortex, the one I was just like bemoaning, it degrades in effectiveness, and that has several implications. The first is that rapid analysis and creative innovation will suffer. The second is that some specific, once easy skills become really, really hard, like multitasking. Brooks talks about how older people are much more easily distracted than younger people. If you have ever passed through a doorway into a new room and then been like, why did I come into this room? You are feeling me. If you have ever been in the presence of teenagers and you found yourself wagging your finger at them and telling them they can't study effectively while texting their friends and listening to music, actually, it's you who can't do that.
Yeah, I'm like, they probably can't.
It's me who can't do that. For older adults, it's us. It's us who have to turn off our phone and turn off the music and go someplace completely quiet to think and work. But I'm like, okay, but this is news I can use. I can do something with this. Essentially, in From Strength to Strength, Arthur C. Brooks posits that as we age, our brain function changes and things that were important and motivating to us also change. He shares that if you are in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, you may be navigating the transition from what is known as fluid intelligence, aka raw smarts and innovative thinking, to your crystallized intelligence, aka your wisdom. And things that were really important and motivating when you were younger, like acquiring status, wealth, power, many other dopamine derived pleasures, may have given way to a passion to share your wisdom, to be of service, to strengthen your relationships, to strengthen your faith. This is a natural progression, and Arthur C. Brooks is encouraging us to acknowledge and navigate this transition as consciously as possible. And he says, here is the bottom line, fellow striver. When it comes to the enviable skills that you worked so hard to attain and that made you successful in your field, you can't expect significant decline to come as soon as your 30s or as late as your early 50s. That's the deal. It's not fun as a 56-year-old to read this. So what are we going to do about it? Before I move forward, any thoughts? Anything?
Yes, I do have a thought and sort of a challenge. I'm curious about, there's a lot of people who come to us, actually at any age, which is ironic. We have young people who are like, it's too late for me.
Yes.
And we have, older people who are like, it's too late for me. And so I'm curious what he would say to people, like maybe they didn't strive and now they're ready to. Do you know what I mean? And they have not, in fact, pursued Yeah, they have not pursued the thing that they wanted to, and now want to. I don't think it's too late for them. I think it's about learning more about how your brain works, and how to best pursue what you want to pursue in a way that's going to suit you. Is that where we're headed?
I agree with that. I'm not Arthur C. Brooks. I don't teach at Harvard.
You
but
look like him.
But do I? Bald head. He's got that little beard and mustache combo platter.
You guys haven't seen Susan in a while.
Oh my God. Hashtag menopause. But I do think that for people in our SparkFile world who either they're wildly creative, but there is a branch of their creativity that they would like to further cultivate, or they've dedicated their careers, say they've been a lawyer their entire career, and now they're like, I want to write a novel. I think that there are ways to take what Arthur C. Brooks is sharing and apply it. So, for instance, you're a wonderful SparkFile community member, Beth Holly, and you've spent your career just being a kick-ass lawyer with a kick-ass career in law. And now you want to write sort of a autobiography about your family's history. I think you can draw from all the things that you've learned in your life, including about your family, and your wisdom over the long arc of time is going to make that writing even richer.
But I think the secret may be in, if we can understand the ways in which our brain is changing, then we might understand ways in which we might work differently to support our brain and accomplish our goals, but that it may not look and feel the same way it did when we were younger and we're like, push, push, push.
Yes.
Strive, strive, strive.
Yes, because I will say my changing brain doesn't impede my love of learning. You watch how I'm like,
all the time.
I want to learn how to program a platform on the computer. And my enjoyment of that isn't diminished by the fact that I'm 56.
But you might turn off your phone and turn the music down and focus to do it. Yep. Okay, I'm tracking.
That's absolutely right. Just jumping back, what are we going to do about it? There are really only 3 doors you can go through here. Arthur C. Brooks says, number 1, you can deny the facts and rage against decline, setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment.
That doesn't seem fun.
It doesn't. Or number 2, you can shrug and give in to decline and experience your aging as an unavoidable tragedy. Or number 3,
sad.
You can accept what got you to this point won't work to get you into the future, that you need to build some new strengths and skills.
There we go.
And if you choose door number 3, congratulations, there is a bright future ahead, but it does require a bunch of new skills and new ways of thinking. But don't despair. There are some specific ways in which we naturally get smarter and more skillful.
What? Our brains get better in some ways?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. The trick to improving as we age is to understand, develop, and practice these new strengths. You can transform decline into incredible new success. Did you ever notice that as people get older, they almost never become less articulate? They tend to have richer vocabulary than they did earlier in life, and this leads to a number of abilities. They are, if you are my mother or my friend Mars, you are better Scrabble players.
Oh.
You can do quite well with foreign languages, and studies bear out these observations. People maintain and grow their vocabulary in their native languages and foreign languages all the way to the end of life. Similarly,
How about Wordle?
I
bet they're rocking it.
I know I am. There are days when I'm like, into booch slammers.
Oh,
yeah.
Woo, throwing down.
Yes. More often 3 and 4, but sometimes in 2.
We're nerds.
Similarly, you may notice that with age, people are better at combining and utilizing complex ideas. In other words, you may not be able to come up with shiny new inventions or solve problems quickly like in the old days, but we are getting much better at using the concepts and expressing them to others. We may also be getting better at interpreting the ideas that others have, sometimes even to the people that have come up with the original ideas.
What?
Yeah.
We can explain back to them what their idea is.
And interpret ideas, extrapolate. If that,
Okay.
then this. Have you ever thought about
Interesting.
combining it with that? That sort of thinking.
I love creation by recombination.
That's
It's
right.
one of my favorite things.
And that might get richer and richer as we get older.
Ooh, I'm excited.
This is a big deal, I think, for you and me and other people in our age range. If your career relies solely on that fluid intelligence that is more, the provenance of the young, it's true that you will peak and decline pretty early. But if your career requires crystallized intelligence, or if you can repurpose your professional life to rely more on crystallized intelligence, your peak will come later and your decline will happen much, much later, if ever. And if you can just go, if you can make the leap from the strength of fluid intelligence to crystallized intelligence, Arthur C. Brooks says, then we have cracked the code.
Wow.
If you are experiencing a decline in fluid intelligence, and if you are my age, you are, it doesn't mean you're washed up. It means it's time to jump off of the fluid intelligence curve and on to the crystallized intelligence curve. And it's helpful just to begin by knowing that that second curve, that the crystallized intelligence curve exists. It exists and it can carry you into a new kind of success.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's exciting. You know what is really great in many ways?
What?
You and I have already made the jump, girly. Isn't that great?
It is great.
It's great.
It is great.
But Arthur C. Brooks, he does acknowledge it can be hard and scary to make that jump. He says it requires courage and fortitude to make changes, big changes like that in our lives and our careers, to become more of a teacher, whatever that means in one specific field. It doesn't mean you have to literally be a teacher. Maybe it means you're a consultant. Maybe it means that you're taking your wisdom and you're applying it in different ways. Not everybody wants to do that. Many refuse. But for those who make the jump, the reward is almost always enormous, or so claims Arthur C. Brooks.
And I'm inclined to believe him. I'm inclined to believe him.
My experience points to yes on this one.
You know, what excites me the most about this is if we have this awareness, I just frankly know too many, and lately it's been more women than men, but not always. But just too many women who are verbally condemning their own minds as they go through these changes.
I feel very guilty of that. Yes.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I always I always cringe because like our brains are listening.
Yeah.
They know we're saying this. We should not be saying this in front of our brains. Like we're like, let's not talk bad about our brains. It is rewiring in a way that it needs to make us better and different, for the next chapter of our lives. And so I'm excited about the possibility of more people being aware of that happening and being like, yes, this might be changing for me. And sometimes I feel sad that I'm not as good at this as I used to be, but I know this is on the horizon for me and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I like that. Finding new and more compassionate and honest, nuanced ways to talk about our changing brains.
That's right.
I like it. Arthur C. Brooks encourages us to devote the back half of our lives to serving others with our wisdom. He says, get old sharing the things you believe are most important. Excellence is always its own reward. And this is how you can be most excellent as you age. This really reminded me of Gavin, who I was seeing really commit his life to devoting the back end of his life to serving others with his wisdom.
So many people.
And we got to be the beneficiary of that. So I'm thankful for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really good about the decision that we've made as well for this next chapter of our lives. And
Doesn't it?
it really does. I feel
Yeah.
grateful for it, and I feel even more committed to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel the same way.
Yowza.
He talks about how we can sense a decline in our fluid intelligence and know that we need to make a change. And if we know that there is a crystallized intelligence curve just waiting for us, we can make a reset, even if it's scary and uncomfortable. But it doesn't mean you have to have like a total midlife meltdown. A major inflection in your life does not mean you have to abandon your spouse or buy a sports car. On the contrary, your professional reset can bring you closer to your family and friends and inspire others. And Laura, not to break my arm patting us on the back, but doesn't that sound a lot like what we've done with the Spark File?
It does. And the gift is like getting to surround yourself with the people that you love, people who inspire you, and like the relationships that just get like deeper and more meaningful.
Yeah,
It's such a gift.
it is a gift. So, what do we make of it? We can work with the natural progression of our mind and with
Mhm.
ourselves as we age instead of fighting against it. Laura Camion just provided a great what do we make of it? We can speak of ourselves and this natural organic transition and our minds and our brains in ways that are more nuanced and supportive of these changes.
Kind.
We can accommodate our brains in ways that have changed from our youth. We can work in quiet environments. We can create work and opportunities that capitalize on our crystallized intelligence and serve others with our wisdom. And I think in conclusion, I just want to thank Arthur C. Brooks for giving language to all of this and lighting the way. I already feel a positive change from reading this book, From Strength to Strength, 2 times.
2 times. Whoa, Suze, I love this. I love this spark, and I love this awareness, this gift of awareness, truly, that he's offering and now you're offering all of us.
I hope that if you are so moved, Laura, you will read this book.
I think I just might. I know exactly where it is over on the shelf. I will just reach over there and crack it open.
Don't be scared.
Feelings.
Feelings.
I like feelings. I will allow those feelings to visit me. And
I love that.
yeah, what a gift. Another gift from Gavin Creel.
So that's it. This episode of The Spark File was made on the lands of the Lenape and the Mohican people. And as always, we hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Hey, listen, if there's a spark you'd like us to explore, or if you'd like to learn more about how to coach with us to accomplish your creative goals, you can email getcreative@thesparkfile.com, or you can reach us through our website, thesparkfile.com.
And you know what? We'll even happily take your feedback. But there is a price of admission. First, you have to share a creative risk that you have taken recently.
You can follow us on social at The Spark File, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and 5-star review this podcast. It really helps other listeners to find us. Also, if you like this podcast, we hope you'll share it with people that you love. And if you didn't like it, I question your crystallized intelligence, frankly.
If something lights you up and gets your creative sparks flying, we're writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that's been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take that spark and fan it into a flame.
You know, you got to take it
and make it.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hi, this is Carrie Butler. Welcome to Breaking Broadway, an insider's guide to making it on Broadway. I get to meet a lot of aspiring performers at the stage door and through social media, and their biggest question is, how how do I make it on Broadway? Well, lean in. I am going to give you the answer. There is no one answer. Everyone's journey is different. It's not something I can answer in one DM, and that is why I started this podcast. I'm going to give you tips from all different kinds of professionals, insider tips to help you find your way. So put on your dance belts, people. Here we go.
My name is Percy Jackson. Getting in trouble is like breathing for me.
The hit series returns to Disney Plus and Hulu.
The danger is greater than you can possibly imagine.
What about Grover? Save Grover. Save camp.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians. New season now on Disney Plus and Hulu. Learn more at disneyplus.com/what's on.